Before we begin, if this story moves you, and it will, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that the dark doesn't get the final word. Every like, every share, every comment help us to bring more stories to light. Now let's begin. What happens when life breaks you and no one's there to help you pick up the pieces? In today's episode, we meet Mandie, a woman who lived through the dark, jail time, single motherhood, deep isolation, but from the shadow, she built something extraordinary. Not just a successful business, but a life of purpose, grace, and resilience. This is not just a comeback story. This is a journey through time, through failure, and into forgiveness. Listen closely. You might find pieces of your own healing in hers. This is the art of becoming. Mandie, you ready?
Rafa,
You ready
yes.
for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
It's such an honor to be able to talk to you and that you invite me to your space, and a beautiful space, by the way.
Thank you.
And I'll have this conversation because I found that your life story is a story that needs to be told, and it will inspire people. You know, normally when you see a podcast or an interview, you'll see famous people or people that are known, and you look after those people if you have that idea. But how about us?
Right.
You know, the regular people.
Right.
So I want to go and say thank you for inviting me, of course. But now we start with before life threw all the curveballs. What was your mindset, or what was Mandie back at the beginning? Try to put yourself at the beginning, probably when you came to consciousness and say, okay, I'm aware of that I'm this person and I have this life going on. How was your childhood?
My childhood was really good, actually. Like, I feel like I was like the normal, like, suburban household. Like, I never needed for anything.
Do you grow up in California?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part?
We were in Covina for a while, and then we moved to Hesperia for a short time because that's like where my mom could buy a house and all that stuff. And then we moved back to Upland when I was like 15.
So you were born in LA?
Covina, yeah.
Oh,
In LA.
Covina.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's great. So born and raised in California,
Right.
California girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about after you remember living in Hesperia. So
I mean, things were good.
okay.
We moved to Hesperia when I was like 7. My brother was born when I was 6. And I mean, things were good.
Okay.
I feel like we did everything. Disneyland, boating, like our household was like super busy all the time. Sports.
Okay.
I played softball for years,
Oh, wow.
soccer.
That's awesome. Very active.
Yeah, very active.
How about friendships? How about
Tons of friendships. I had like my little crew was like, you know, breakfast club, little skater
All right.
friends.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was honestly, it was great.
So you have your mindset on what at that time was probably 15, 16 years old. You were in high school. What were you thinking? Now you were like, okay, I want to be this. I want to follow that.
I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was like my dream.
Okay.
I feel like everything I was doing was leading up to that. I mean, my mom was booking like she booked, I mean, this is going to jump fast into a story.
No, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
So my mom, for my 16th birthday, was booking me to do like an interaction with dolphins.
Okay.
And I gave her bad news, so I wasn't able to do that interaction.
Do the captivity of the animals?
Just swim with them and do all that. So, but I
relate.
Yeah, something happened in my life, so I wasn't able to like be in the water with the dolphins.
Okay.
But yeah, there's more that happened before that too.
All right, so it's kind of a fear of the water, a fear of the depth?
No, I was pregnant.
Okay.
So I couldn't go in the water, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. So so that being said, we start seeing some of the shadows, right?
Yeah.
Some of the shadows. Can we ask more about that? I mean,
Yeah.
Can we go a little more deeper into it? So what age was that? You don't have to give us like super details, but at least it's okay. You can take your time, breathe. So the most interesting part of it, not just that part of your life, and overall, when I met you and I knew your story, because we're, always talk about stuff in life, is that survivor side. Because all of us as humans have this experience of life, but everybody has stories to tell.
Yeah.
So when you see Mandie now, successful business owner, stylist with this great salon, great wife and kids, house is amazing. Maybe some people say like, that's great. Yeah, that's so easy. I want that.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy.
No.
Because you have to break so many boundaries. And at the same time, it's like when I read this psychoanalysis by Carl Jung, is the shadow. Right. And it starts from many, many years before we are aware of it, what we are actually want in life.
Yeah.
So you're going through this pregnancy. You were what?
I met my kid's dad when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, but before that, I had a lot of like situations that happened in like high school.
Okay.
Like a lot of bullying that happened that kind of made me want to like be my bully, like become the people that bullied me. And
to try to survive.
I'm an adapter, so I feel like I was putting myself in that position to see if they were anything to be scared of. So it was like these chola girls. I mean, they were like super tatted up. They had stole my jacket by knife point in high school, and I had one friend with me, and she like did not help me. Like I turned around and she took off running, and in that moment, I turned psycho. I literally, like, my adrenaline kicked in. I screamed, and the girls were barely walking off, and I took off running after them, and then they actually ran from me. So it gave me like this adrenaline boost, like, oh, maybe I'm a lot tougher than I'm actually like giving myself credit for.
Right.
So my mom did remove me from that school, and I lived with my grandma back in Covina, and I went to Charter Oak High School, and I became like those girls.
So basically you took a mask.
I took character. Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
A mask.
Yep.
Like we all do.
Yeah.
And decided, okay, this mask serves me.
Right.
Protects me.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right.
Identifies me in terms of the outside world. I'm not gonna get bullied.
Right.
I mean, this is me.
Right.
Now, okay.
So then I ended up, hanging out with the wrong crowd. I actually didn't do anything bad yet, like no drugs, alcohol, nothing like that, so I was living with my grandma, and she's like a second mom to me.
How old were you back then?
I was 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was like 9th grade, so I was 14. Lived with her. I actually had stolen money out of her purse, like the beginning of this week, and me and my friends ended up going and getting our nails done. And I remember I was in the bathroom and I was like, I was praying and I was like, okay, please God forgive me. Like, I took this money. I'm going to pay this back before my grandma passes away. Like, I swear, please forgive me. That's just who I was. So I had got my nails done, had a fun day. Then I went home, back to my parents. I would go every weekend back to their house. And I went home, and on Sunday night, it was, so my parents would take me like every Monday to go to school. And that Sunday, my grandma called, and it was like the middle of the night, and my dad answered, and my dad was like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I forgot to pick up Mandie from school." And she had wrote me a note and like left it in the kitchen in case I came home. And she was getting ready to go out the door, and my dad's like, "It's Sunday night. Mandie wasn't at school. It's like the middle of the night." So my dad knew like something's wrong. And that whole week, I knew my grandma's arm was hurting. It was weird. And I was telling my family, but like, we didn't think anything of it. So my grandma ended up dying of a massive heart attack. So
Do you think now that she was a good protector,
oh, for sure.
like an angel,
Oh,
basically, for you?
yeah.
To the day that you have it right now, her presence, her
Yes.
energy, and taking all that pain, transform it into something good, into
Oh.
memories, and all the beauty.
Yeah.
So let me rewind a little bit. So 14, 15, going through that situation, school, and so 16 when you got pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can probably think about the influence of friends
Yeah.
or people are definitely the ones that kind of got you into it, or you got yourself into
Yeah.
it. But I mean,
Yeah.
the environment
Yeah.
that you were in somehow affected you to start making these decisions.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So after that, let's jump forward. What happened to the idea of going to college?
I couldn't stay sober to even think about school anymore. I actually
So
dropped
basically,
out.
your timeline broke
It broke.
into many options.
Yeah.
Happens to all of us, by the way.
Yeah.
So you decided this is the path that I'm going to take, and when we
Yeah.
are young, we think we own the world, right?
Yeah.
We do everything. So okay, you took that path, and okay, tell me a little more about that. So
I don't feel like I started with drugs like right away. I started like self-harming myself because I'm so overly emotional.
mhm.
I'm an emotional gangster. That's what it is. But I would cut myself really bad
Okay.
just to like try to relieve like this,
And of
you
course,
know?
yeah. Look at.
I don't like to cry, so
Were
I
you
would go
able
in the
to go
bathroom.
like a therapist or something?
I started with a therapist.
But didn't work out.
There was like a lot of little things with, not saying my dad's a horrible person, but there was like a lot of little things that I needed from my dad also, growing up, that I feel like I was not focused on anymore.
So what do you think about a 15, 16-year-old right now,
Right.
girl, boy, going through something similar?
Right.
What would you tell them?
I would honestly tell them to find just one person that you can talk to. That would sit down, no judgment, that you can like just say your feelings about stuff. Someone that will talk you off the edge,
Because I bring that up because I like to obviously bring solutions.
Right.
And when people approach me and ask me about, hey, I have this problem or how this situation, sometimes we are pretty good listeners, or just
Yeah.
there are people that are judgmentals. But
Yeah.
I'm like, how about solutions, right? So this is a really good point to say, you know, if you're 15, 16 years old, or, whatever, a teenager, trying to find somebody, that you can anchor on, that you can find somebody that can guide you through, because it's always important to be listened to. So, okay.
I feel like I found it hard because I feel like you said, the judgment thing, and I feel like all through life you find friends, family, but like in moments of anger, people use what you say against you instead of continuing to help you or just be supportive and listen, like you said. Like, I feel like it becomes ammo for somebody to tear someone else down.
So now you're 18, 19 years old, what's happening there?
18, 19 years old, I was full blown in addiction.
What kind of drugs can you tell me?
I started with cocaine and then I ended with meth.
Okay.
And I was with a very abusive man.
Do you think at that time anything was enabling you to do it? Like, I don't know, money or a good trip or something? No?
Honestly, maybe the numbness. Because whenever I was high, I was completely numb. I felt like I was able to be like my inner self and be able to, like, if you talk crap to me, I don't care. Like, go screw yourself, or, however I felt, my true feelings would come out being high. Okay. So I tried to stay high. And it didn't help being like in an abusive relationship. Like, I feel like we enabled each other. Okay. And that was,
So basically, awakening the monster, awakening the shadows, going through the motions of life, and feeling lost.
Feeling lost, yeah.
Okay. So, what else? What else did you feel during that time that happens? That's still brewing in there, right? Very emotional sides that we can probably explore later. But when do you decide this is it?
I actually had went to prison. Okay. And I had 2 kids already.
So you went to prison. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience?
Yes. I was stealing cars and I was selling them for money to like pay my rent, get by, get my kids clothes.
We talked about this a long time ago, and if you don't mind going through the motions of how it is to go to jail.
So stressful. Like the highest anxiety walking into a situation you don't know. I do remember the first time I went, it wasn't really jail I was scared of. It was more prison, because you watch the shows and it's like the tears and the people. Mm-hmm. It is definitely that. Like, I remember walking in and women look like men and they are barking out the doors at you. Like, it is so scary. And again, I had to put on a whole mask in order to like adapt and deal with it.
For how long you were in jail?
I got 3 years with half time, and I ended up telling the courts that I had a drug problem, and that is why I was committing anything that I was doing, was because the drugs, and I really just wanted the help to get clean. I left my kids, so I remember in the jail timing, like my kid's dad was in prison too. He was already there, and then I just went crazy and then ended up there too, and I told him, like, this, we have to sign guardianship of the girls over to my mom because she has to take care of them. And I didn't want them in the system, and my mom wouldn't let that happen, but I felt bad, like, leaving that responsibility to her.
How many kids?
I have 2 kids.
Okay. 3 years.
Yeah, I ended up doing half-time. So
half-time. So what is that?
It was all drug treatment based. So it was California. It was in Norco. It was a prison that was like based on treatment.
Okay.
So it was like Monday through Friday classes, like from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And how old were you?
I was 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you went through the experience, of course, jail, and then you get out.
I got out.
Get out, and
I put myself in a recovery home.
okay.
I didn't.
What is that?
It was like a live-in recovery, where you still like bunked with other people,
Okay.
and you still went to programs every day.
So you thought about, okay, I'm gonna do something when I get out of here. Finally, I'm gonna, break this mask and I'm gonna become this or that.
Towards the end, like even after having my kids, like I've always loved beauty. So I even used to tell my old best friend, like, I'm going to go to hair school. Like I'm going to do it.
Any reason? Just
I just like to make
start liking it.
Feel good.
Okay.
So
you're pretty good at it, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it was more of I need things in my life that make me feel good about myself.
Right.
Yes. And if I can make someone feel good, then it makes me feel good.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So you're 24. Let's talk about somebody that's going through the motions of maybe not jail, but probably close to it.
Right.
Going through a really difficult time with addiction. Very difficult time trying to find themselves in life. They have tried everything and they haven't figured it out how, why it's happening. What will be something that you can tell them? Besides looking for somebody like an anchor, somebody that can help them, a guide, something. There's hope or there's no hope? No,
there's definitely hope.
Okay.
I definitely think that it is the hardest thing to put yourself in a program when you're under addiction. Like, I don't even know that me saying that to somebody can help them, but I hope it would.
It would be a personal decision too, right?
Because there's so many times I thought like, oh, I'm just going to put myself in this rehab to like get clean. I just need 30 days. Like if I can get past 30 days, I will find the drive to stay cleaner. But I mean, you definitely have to want it. I think my point to actually be clean, because drugs is in there too. It's all over in there. Was my mom telling me on the phone she wouldn't come see me because that's just not her type of atmosphere.
Okay.
So I had someone else bring my kids twice, and then I was like, I can't have my kids see me anymore like this. So she had told me on the phone that she was trying to figure me out and statistics, and I am just like so big on not being on paper. So she told me statistics of people that are users, and how many of them actually get sober and stay sober. And I remember I used that as motivation.
That's why I call you a survivor. That's the moment that you decided, okay.
Yeah.
Time to, take off the mask. Time to wear the person that I am.
Yeah.
So it's a path, right, of what I call, we learn, my wife and I, the curriculum of life. But it's hard to understanding in the moment because you're saying, well, this is all happening to me, why me, why me, why me?
Yeah.
But it's just us being creating that. Somehow we have to learn from it and somehow we have to get out of it. Well, the tools are action, right? Let's do something that would change this habit of this idea that I have to be in this hole.
Yeah. My parents taught me, like, it's weird. My dad always told me and my brother growing up, like, do not ever put me in a situation I can't get you out of. So I've always had that mindset. Like, even the first time I went to prison, I was so scared. And I called my mom and told her, like, okay, I'm facing 3 years. Like, this is what's going to happen. She was crying.
Of course.
And I was like, it's fine. Like, I did this to myself. This is no one's fault but mine. Yeah, because I wanted to make sure she didn't feel like she failed as my mom,
Yeah, you wear the responsibility of it.
Yeah, it's just a mother thing for sure. So I I literally feel like I've just never lived my life for myself. And I care about how I affect everyone else. It kind of keeps me going, right? Like, so I told her, like, it's fine. I needed this. My cup is half full. I'm not gonna look at this in a bad way. Like, I needed this because I couldn't get clean on my own. So God gave me this time to see what I have so I can clean up, because I already had 2 kids, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I was the perfect parent. I literally left my kids at home to go use. I felt guilt for it for years. I don't feel that anymore. I feel like it wasn't me. It was my addiction. So all I could do is make sure I never go back to that.
And now, you know, you have a great relationship with your daughters.
Oh, yeah. And I just celebrated 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years clean. So,
congratulations.
Yeah.
So, okay, 24, 25, you get out, finally. What did you do?
I still was with my kid's dad.
Okay.
And my thing was, I do not want to use again.
Perfect.
So I told him, like, if you use again, like, I have to go. And this is crazy because I even spoke in, like, a rehab. I don't know if that was, like, love or if it was, like, I grew up with him, you know?
Yeah. You got used to it.
Yeah, and it was 10
security,
years.
Maybe, you know, some sense of security that you have somebody
It's
there,
all I
you know.
knew.
Of course.
It's the only person I knew. And when times got really hard, like, he didn't leave me. Like, we were homeless together. Like, we struggled together. So
that's the part that I tell people that use those memories, those experiences.
Yeah.
Even though they're traumatic or could be bad, and something good will come out of it. And okay, you know, the relationship is over or whatever, and you move on, but you keep that beauty,
right?
Because when you meet somebody and you know, get along and you connect with, they have to be something,
right,
that you carry, that you see them,
right.
So that's positive side, the beauty side, the good experiences,
right.
That's probably what you were, you know, connected to.
Yeah. And I remember he used a couple of times. We were living at my mom's and he would leave for the weekend and he used. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm telling you. And he did it again. And I packed all his stuff and left it on the door. And I had his mom pick it up. And I didn't drive to pick him up this time. But I was really messed up. Like, it almost took me back into using just to get him back and, like, hope it could change again. So it was a lot of, like, fighting myself. And I already knew, like, if I'm not with him, he's not going to be a part of my kid's life.
So basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm seeing is that, because I was going to ask you, how do you got out of each situation? But it seems to be like it was you. Like your decision.
Yep.
Basically, I'm going through this door, and that's it. It's not like...
Never went back. Yep.
So it's the will of making the change.
Right.
All right. So were you working back then when you were finally separated and you decided to...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was doing corporate. So I was, I was doing like accounting and...
I bet you loved it.
I did love it. Actually, I did love it.
Okay.
I like challenging stuff. So I'm all for the challenge.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And then what happened? What happened with beauty school?
It was, I had gotten into I kind of put that on the back burner, and I had gotten into another relationship.
Okay.
With someone I knew since I was like 17.
Okay.
And he pushed me. He actually paid for my school. So, like, the monthly payment.
Another angel in life.
Yeah.
So, some sort of.
Yeah, he was actually.
Help you out. Okay, cool.
So.
And so What happened? You got a relationship? You guys separated?
We started drinking a lot
Okay.
and partying on the weekends, like not drugs, because he was sober too. He had just got out of prison himself.
So basically, more shadows in the closet. That seems to be in your life.
Addiction turns to another thing. And while I went to school, I actually was living with him. I wasn't living with my mom and my kids. So I can get through school and like it be a thing. And I got a felony DUI.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop it right there because when you told me that story, I was like, that's when we started with the idea of the podcast.
Yeah.
To have this podcast. It's like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me, what happened again?
Yeah, again. I had been out of prison for 4 years.
But you gotta tell the audience, the story of why you went to jail on that moment. So, which is kind of crazy to a certain degree, right? Because I mean, you guys were driving.
Yeah, we were driving. Our car had crashed before, so we had gotten it fixed, but the axle was still kind of messed up. And we were on the freeway, and we would trade off. Like if we went somewhere, he got drunk and I didn't, or I got drunk and he didn't. And this time we both ended up drunk, and I got scared like him and his cousin were going to get in a fight. And I was like, we got to go. So we got in the car and I was like, I'll drive. And I wasn't even wasted. Like,
who was in the car?
It was me, him, and 3 of our friends.
Okay.
So we were driving, and I had turned to get onto an on-ramp. And I don't know if I hit a rock or what, but the axle snapped.
Okay.
And we went flying into one side of the road and flipped into the other side. We almost went over the overpass. It was insane. He didn't have a seatbelt. I was holding him. My friend, all the windshields like busted out.
Basically, like
people had glass in their face.
People.
I was pinned up against the side, so I couldn't even get out of the car. Like,
and you were blamed for this, of course.
I had blacked.
Yeah, you were behind the wheel.
Yeah,
and
he actually got so mad at me and wanted to take the spot of the driver. And I mean, I was like, no way. You just did so many years in prison. I'm not doing it.
So you went through the valley. You went to and reached the peak. Then went through the valley down again. Went to another peak. And now all of a sudden you are in the valley. Yeah. And apparently you got stuck in there for a little bit. Now as you're back in this situation where you got to go to jail.
Yeah. They let me graduate my beauty school. Okay. And I already had clients built up, and I had to turn myself in like 3 months after. And
you have, is that worse when you have time to prepare to go to jail?
Not really, because I feel like I honestly don't know how I did it.
Who can prepare to go to jail? What is the question?
I just take everything as a positive instead of a negative. Like, it sounds so cliche, but I was like, I needed this. I started drinking again. Like, I'm trading addictions for something else, and it led me here. So this was, I guess, God showing me a sign, because I could have hit someone else. I could have killed someone. There were so many other things that could have happened.
Yep.
So I just was like, okay, I'm going to do my time. I went in single. We kind of ended our relationship.
And do you feel, tell me again, no, it's just such a complicated story, but at the same time so interesting. The first day in jail.
I knew what I was in for, because I had been there before. So it was just like, it's like a switch though, that
no cell phone, no nothing, just yourself. And do you meet anybody that, good friends or somebody? I mean, because you told me a story about a nurse, right?
Yeah, I actually met a nurse. She was an RN, and she killed someone. And she ended up getting like 6 or 7 years.
But killed because
she hit a parked car after going to happy hour with a bunch of other nurses. And I just remember hearing all these stories about, because they
So
still
basically, probably overstressed,
yes,
overstressed, drunk, crazy, you know, didn't pay attention, and
Yeah.
sadly,
Yeah.
you know, somebody died due to the incident, and now the entire life is wasted and go to jail.
Right. Yeah.
So fragile. Life
It can happen to anyone. Like, that's the
so
crazy
make the
thing.
right decisions, right?
Yeah.
Make the right choices.
Yeah.
If not, you will get affected somehow in your life, in your timeline, in your life. Okay, 3 years. Did you learn anything there? I mean, did you any trades, anything that you couldn't work on it?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
It was different from the first time that you had some
Yeah.
sort of like schooling.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I was cutting people's hair in there.
oh, for real?
It's like a razor blade. We would like cut the end off and use like a comb and just like cut the hair.
Wow.
So people would pay me to cut their hair in there.
Okay.
And my mom would send me like clothes and boxes for like hygiene and stuff. And yep.
All right. So you get out.
I got out.
And then?
And then I was like, I'm going to be single and just do life and see where I end up. And
how old were you back then?
When I got out, I was 28. No. Yeah, I was 28. I got out New Year's Day of 2010.
New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
2010. And then.
So how did you ended up being such a success as business owner in a beauty salon? I mean, is this, think about this.
Yeah.
That's why this podcast is meant to be what it is, to inspire people to a very difficult times and a survivor story. Think about it, Mandie. How are you now successful? Have everything you have around.
I don't stop.
You don't stop.
I don't stop. Like, I just don't stop.
Can we probably add that you have made all these memories and traumas and make them into something that will be your school of life? For sure. Okay.
I feel like I mean, I didn't live here. I met Drea online on Facebook at the end of 2010. And I moved to San Diego for her.
Where were you living before?
In Upland.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So she got me to move out here. And then originally when we first got our place together, she was like, you don't have to work. And I'm like, that's not me. I can't not work. So I found a salon that I could be receptionist in. And she allowed me to like build clients on the side. It was just a lot of hard work. A lot of long hours. Because I had like basically 2 jobs. And
so how many times have you tried before you ended up with the salon that you have now, your own business? How many times did you try to open a salon? Or just do something on your own? On the beauty side?
Owned probably 5 salons.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Talk about trying.
Yeah. I was with the same person that I originally like started working for out here for, I want to say like 5 years. And then I was like, I have to be on my own. So then I like jumped on my own to a big salon. And then I got another opportunity to take over another salon. And then another opportunity to take over another salon. And at one point I had 3 salons at one time. I think I'm just good at saving and figuring out numbers and where placement is. I don't like, because I feel like that's what it is, owning a salon.
And recognizing where you're good at. Because, I mean, apparently you're a good entrepreneur, and also you can run a business plus be part of the business. I mean, let me explain that. You know, make your beauty products in terms of translating to the people that go, you know, highlights, colors, cuts, and all this. But you also run the business. Right. You're going to have like somebody, like a manager running the business for you. You are the manager, right? You are the general manager. You are the assistant. You're everything in there. Besides, obviously, the help that you get from other people.
I think I'm just a hustler, too. Like, even on slow times, because there's slow times in salon, I feel like we would do food deliveries to make money. We would do all kinds of stuff just to not be in another hourly paying job. Like, I just didn't give up. And consistent. I stayed consistent.
So, if you try 5 times to do a business, what would you tell somebody they're trying to do a business now, and they say it's too hard. It's too difficult.
Not too hard.
So why is it not too hard? I don't have any money, for example. If they say that.
So then save.
Okay.
Save and then do it.
But I'm not good enough cutting hair. In this case, talking about beauty. Be
consistent. Take classes. Keep trying. Keep practicing. Okay. How about, oh, my personal life sucks. You know, everybody's does. Okay. Everybody's does. I still have moments that I fight, like just emotionally, mental instability for sure. Moments I get really depressed. I'm so social in work where
but you
I
make
have
a choice, right?
True.
You make a choice. Either I feel like crap, or I decide this day it will be great for me. Right. And make the best of the bad situations, if any, right? Yeah. So now let's get a little bit more into like a spiritual realm and the talk that we like, consciousness. Yes. Do you feel in your life you have guides? Do you have some sort of unseen interventions in a positive way? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. All the time, actually. All the time? Okay. Yeah. How about in jail? Were you able to be connected to something that tells you, okay, Mandie, this will be eventually over? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Because I asked you that question because, you know, I'm very impressed that every time that I have the opportunity to be your client, my wife, my daughter, and you translate your work into that beauty. Mm-hmm. Let me explain that again. Basically, you cut somebody's hair. Mm-hmm. Anybody can cut it. Not as good as if you study for it. Right. But I'm saying this style, the beauty, the way that people carry it is an energy. The color is energy. So you are translating somehow that energy into people. Mm-hmm. You know, you say from the beginning, because I wanted to make people, you know, feel good and, you know, help people out. I think that is the power that you have. Yeah. Is in your craft. Is being able to channel that energy, put it into people's perspective and make them, because imagine, I mean, people are like, oh, you know, I look great. And even though it's physical, it's material, it's still part of helping feed the soul. So have you thought about that when you do your job, your beauty salon, and when you are working on somebody, are you actually channeling the energy? All the time. Okay. I honestly feel like it is crazy because I am so emotionally broken inside that I feel like I doubt myself so much, but there is something that moves through me because I'll end up seeing what I've done and it literally comes so natural. Like I don't even know how it comes, but I can mix 3 boxes of color together. And like my mental already knew what it was going to be, but I do not know what it was going to be. And then I look at it and I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. Okay. I'm here for it. So I want to open a business. Mm-hmm. I want to open a salon. I just came out of beauty school. What would be the steps for somebody that probably don't want to open their salon, but they want to work on it? And I bring that up because I was in one time in your salon, and this lady showed up, this young girl, asking for, you know, what would be the best guidance or the best way to go to start her career. And what would you say to somebody that's looking to start with? Because I feel a lot of people want to go ahead and try and pursue their career, but they don't have that, what you're saying, the consistency of knocking doors. Right. Because it's hard. I mean, no, it is hard. Anything you start, it doesn't have to be a beauty salon. Anything you start, sometimes you don't get the answer right away. And you got to do Amazon deliveries or Uber Eats, whatever, and say, you know what? This is probably it's not my call because I'm not getting work. Should they keep grinding? Should they keep knocking the door? Oh, no. Yeah. Keep going. Because you tried already 5 times. Right. Right. Your business until finally you made it happen. So what would you tell the young audience that they say, hey, I want to do this, but guide me? I feel like
When I am so big on opportunity, I feel like when it just falls in your lap or it has numbers work, because everything's a struggle in the beginning. If it all lays out and it all works, do it. Do it. Because I've never honestly gotten a loan or anything.
Oh, for real?
No, never.
No way.
I had the worst credit ever. I barely started fixing my credit, to be honest with you. Like,
But
never.
You made it happen.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's just saving. And then believing in the dynamic of
How
what
about
I'm
the people-
trying to build.
How about the people that you surround with? Because your salon now has really good vibes and has a good flow. Is that something that you also will suggest people to try to work with the people that you really want to work with?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the last big salon I had, which was in Point Loma, I had a horrible situation that happened where somebody left and then they took people, but then I filled it up within 1 month. And we had the best team. Like, it was the best team
Wow, that's pretty cool.
ever. And then COVID happened.
Many things happen.
Yes. Yes, but it was easy. It worked. It wasn't my place.
So you had to start all over again.
I had to start
we
all
all
over
have to
again.
start
Yeah.
over again. And you did, and you did fantastic. But okay, cool. I mean, just keep trying, keep knocking the doors, keep answering that call of go, 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 because nothing's going to happen by magic.
The world of energy, you have to be consistent. You want it, you have to move consistently. And it comes.
So how about now? Where are you? I mean, how do you feel? Where's Mandie now in 2025 after, going through storms and up and valleys and down hills?
I feel like, mentally and emotionally, you'll always have like hurt and pain of things you've gone through. I think you just have to find the tools to work through them and like get you back in a better place. Surround yourself with people that lift you up, don't pull you down.
Nice.
Have boundaries to cut that off and,
That's
don't bring it in
fantastic.
your circle.
I like it. I love it. Well, we are going towards the end of the podcast, but one of the things that I wanted to close or bring your mind into is, where do you see in the next 5 years?
I'm going to be bigger and better.
Do you think about that, or do you just like, go day by day?
No, I don't go day by day. I can't live like that. I always live. My brain lives day by day, but I always process future. Like, I have goals I manifest.
You're in the present, but you're thinking towards present, manifest. I think that the key of this will be, how can I create goals? Right? Many people talk about this. So, okay, but I can't reach that. Okay, but create short-term goals in the present.
Yes.
Right? Live the present is the only thing that exists. Do not put your mind to the future or the past. Because we have the tendency, we've been programmed to that. So, at that point, the present is your main source of energy, where you are, creating everything you want. Yeah. It seems to be that's working out for you now really well.
Mine is vacationing now.
Vacationing.
Vacationing.
So work hard, but at the same time play hard. I mean, enjoy time.
Yes.
How's your time with your family nowadays?
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, I've probably cut my work days down to 4 days a week. I have 3 days off, and I'm just with family. Yep. I love it.
That's great. So there's hope, right?
Yes, there's hope.
It sounds like there's hope. It's a good story for everybody. And well, Mandie, I mean, what else can I say besides thank you?
No,
it's
thank
been
you.
A great conversation. I hope this will help many people to at least have a reference that there are solutions in life of many problems and challenges. And
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Ever give up.
Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking that and with me, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was been a fantastic time.
Thank you.
You're the best.